Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
What is going on, my Impact Wrestling fam? My name is Jeff. This is the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast, episode 99, the great one. I don't know if we have a great one in store for you guys. I'm obviously 15 behind. No, kids come first, including myself. So I had to take care of some things, but we're here, we're live. I'm excited to talk to you guys. Thank you for joining us. If you are joining us, it was a little late notice. I appreciate that. If you do. But I do want to say it is episode 99. And that means, obviously, what comes next is episode 100. So, at the end of it, the Impact Zone, episode 7, we will announce a cool thing for episode 100. Some friends coming back and saying hi and some stuff. And kind of launching us into hopefully what we become from there. So, we'll have some cool announcements, some fun things, and I'm excited for it. But this is episode 99. I am Jeff. I already said all this. But we got a lot to talk about. If you can see right there, even in the cover art, I mean, come on, guys. We got to talk Allen Angels, of course. We got to talk This Week in Impact and what you guys thought about it as well. You got Kushida announcement. You got Killer Kelly announcement. The Briscoes, are they here? Are they gone? A lot to talk about. I look forward to this each week. What's going on, Millard? What's up, buddy? Hopefully you guys start trickling in. I appreciate the patience on that. Yeah, man, there's a lot to talk about, a lot to talk nonsense about, nonetheless. But if, as I always say, guys, Impact Wrestling comes first. If you don't like what you hear here, obviously we have our own channel of things that are on there now, including the TBN guys, Talking Bloody Nonsense, Craig and Nixon. They're already on episode 29, man. They're cranking, and perfect timing. And they also have TBN chats with Mark Adams, which is dope, and then Craig traveling around to Kamikaze Pro and beyond. So go check out their stuff. Keep promoting Unity, guys. I keep saying that. Go to these shows. We have them ticking on the Tron right there. Right there. Treehouse, man. No, you see them going on the Tron right there. You see the different shows and different things, Impact's branding and coming out. But if you're going to those shows, if you're going alone, you're going deep, if somewhere in between, doesn't matter. Reach out to the people around you. Take photos, put them out there, tag everyone, man. This is a community. I said it last week in my rambling on, the only way Impact grows is the same way, the only way the pro wrestling, and I just stuttered, that wasn't supposed to be pro wrestling, but pro wrestling. The pro wrestling community grows as well, guys. I think we're all tired of the bickering and the trolling and so on. So let's make an impact. Hey, cheesy pun intended. And invite, surround, go out for drinks and eat with the people you see around you. Start chants with people around you. Put the phones down. That's my thing. And pick the arms up. I don't know, man. It's been a long day. Guys. But let's get right into people. That's my transition. Because fuck it. Let's get to YouTube comments. All right, so we got a couple YouTube comments here. 3, one being myself, and something I already mentioned. Man, I will clarify my community rant on 99. Haha, I was done. Yeah, I was burnout. But the point remains the same. Unite, grow this thing. We are the only things that can grow and keep this business alive, man. I don't want to put it all on, say like, hey, good job, fans. But at the end of the day, the consumer keep the lights on. So let's keep doing so. We'll speak about that as well. That's something interesting in my ramble I have not said yet. The impact surveys. Did any of you get them? I want to see. If you're in the chat, let me know if you got one of the Impact surveys. If not, we'll inform you during Hot Topics what that's all about. All right, Metal Lazy 25. We got 2 from you. Once again, guys, YouTube comments are the lifeblood of this show. Well, including, obviously, we'll do part 1B. 1B. 1A definitely goes to the chat right here. But 1B, you guys give us what we're going to talk about. And as we kind of change, once again, our format, for the better, though, YouTube comments will come into play even more so. We're looking for your guys, just simple questions, your topics, what you want to hear us talk about, myself talk about in this case, but YouTube comments is a big play in the future of this. All right, so Metal Lazy 25. Glad Kelly returned. She could step into that role of being the next top face of the Knockouts division if booked correctly. True. I think Bay and Ace winning the tag titles makes the most sense, especially when not knowing if the Goof brothers, oh, I see what you did there, are re-signing. Yeah, we'll go into that on Impact Zone. Metal Lazy 25, I give you shit, but I appreciate anyone who puts comments in there, especially yourself, because you come week after week no matter what my answer is. And we don't always have to agree. That's the point of a community. We have different likes, personalities, thoughts, and comments, but we can respectfully saying them in minus the Goof Brothers thing. No, look, we'll talk about the Good Brothers a little bit on the Impact Zone. As far as Ace and Bay, yeah, I mean, I love them together. You'll hear me in the review. I even said on Twitter, I marked out for the 4 of them all talking together. It just I don't know, being a NWOer during the highlight of that era. Yep, I'm that old. But just seeing, like, it just had that vibe, man, of a core group. I don't know, man. It was really cool, but I don't know. We'll see. I think, long story short, I think they're too intertwined for them to leave. I think the Impact Wrestling and the Good Brothers, it's got me there, are intertwined too deep. But and then as far as Kelly, man, yeah, I'll talk her over the course of this in the review as well. I see Parkside 7 as well. Jeff, it's crazy that Killer Kelly has been signed for about 2 years. With everything happening personally around the world and professionally, she couldn't start any sooner. Yeah, we had speculated that it was just a matter of when, right? We didn't know it was this deep, that there was already a contract in place or already signed. And it's awesome that they stood by each other. They worked through everything, not with each other, but it looks to be the American government. And she's here, man. Visa issues aside, mental health aside, I think we can all attest to that, man. It's not the easiest feat, and she's ready to make her impact. Yet again, pun, but it is what it is. This is something I think the Impact fan base has been clamoring for quite a bit. This vignette that we're going to talk about, might just talk about it here, but icing on the cake, man. Very, I'll outdate myself, but a little La Femme Nikita, but, what is it, the other one, the Dragon Tattoo, whatever. Yeah, just very slick and it's really cool shit, man. Maybe I'm missing a reference here, but once again, I'm old. All right, next up from Metal Lazy 25. I thought the DMC had the chance to be like a true title with Swan being champ. Same here. But with Myers as champion, it'll probably be just like it was Cardona title. Sorry, it's too small. It was for Cardona, a title not seen too much on TV or just a comedy title. Well, with that backstage segment this week with Myers and Swinger, it seems like DMC is a comedy title again. 1 week. One segment. And you're already... No, man, I know where you're coming from. But I don't see how just because the person holding it is funny makes it a comedy title. I don't think it's a prop. I am disappointed on the stature of it. I really think, not that Brian Myers lowers that stature, but you could see him already enticing the Swingers and Googers of the world to challenge for it. So, they're treating it more like a TV title compared to a IC or US. I just prefer that because I think the X Division, although, once again, a very prestigious title, just doesn't carry the weight of I'm going for the world championship next. Now, I know there are examples, and you guys will let me know, of instances where that, it goes X Division, then that. And of course, there's, the option C, for God's sakes. So, I don't know. Your guys' thoughts? Where did you want the DMC title to go? Did you feel it's going in the wrong route? I said last week I thought the gimmick of it all needs to go away. So I'm glad they're talking about it on the actual Impact show, which they've been. But I guess it goes. It goes. We'll have to see where it goes from here, because Swan's also not going back for his rematch, right? Doesn't seem that way. Went through Shira. We'll see where he goes next. I think he might be. We'll talk about that in a second, actually. All right, guys. But yeah, that was YouTube comments. A couple of them. Well, 3 being one of my stupid ones, reminders for myself. But if you guys have anything, let us know. Please just write in the comments here and below, even if it's just a question. Get our opinion on it. We're not always on the Twitter, but tag us in something. Hey, Datila, what's going on, buddy? Tag us in something, and we'll try to use them for the YouTube comments as well. But speaking of Datila, always popping in at the right time, dear. Always popping in the right time. Let's get to Impact GoGoPowerRankings, the top 10. Now this week, I'm going to say, and I'll say a little bit more after so I won't spoil it, but these power rankings, although just a fantasy top 10 booking of this week in Impact by a few people, once again, you can join and make a difference. Very easy, DM us, and we put you in the chat, mute us, and then just vote every week. That's it. You don't have to interact with us. But with that being said, for just being that, I took this one ultra serious. Thought there were some travesties in here. We'll talk about that. Some people voting. I don't want to spoil anything. And I'm sure, once again, Go Power Rankings every Tuesday, Turbo Tuesday, Datila and Bert, kicking ass. Go watch them. They talk about the power rankings you're about to see right now. And go a little bit deeper into their thoughts. And they don't hold back. They don't hold back. But here's the power rankings for this week, guys.
Number 10, Honor No More. Number 9, Just So and the Influence. Number 8, Tag Team Champions Team Ragnarok. Number 7, Tag Team Champions Bullet Club. And number 6, Ruchosa Deonna Purrazzo. Number 5, Venom Trey Miguel. Number 4, World Champion Jordan Grace. Number 3, World Champion Josh Alexander. Number 2, HBIC Mia Yim. Number 1, X Division Champion Mike Bailey.
What do you guys think? I don't know, man. 2 world champions at 3 and 4. I know it doesn't matter. But, and I know Mia and not to take it away from them and Bailey the week they had, man. But, hey, I get it. It's the week in general. But, hey, Josh and Jordan are on that media loop. So they should have got to, they're repping Impact 6 out of the 7 days pretty well. Just on Thursday, I guess they didn't get enough shine. I guess that's the issue. But, no, I get it, guys. If you want to join and you want to make an Impact yourself, keep going with that pun. Write us once again at BertMacklin11 or at TNAIWChannel. Say hello to Io, who just popped up as well in the chat. What's going on, buddy? But here's how crazy it is, and this is how much each vote matters. Honorable mention, so that means each of these people got at least 1 vote for something. Myers, Killer Kelly, Rich Swann, Heath, Black Taurus, Alan Angels, AMW, VBD, and Motor City Machine Gun. So, hey, a spread lot, and your vote does matter, so make sure you think about joining the group here, man. It's a good time, and it does make a difference. So, but what did you guys think? Let us know here. I see Io saying a fair result had Mia number 1 in his part. Yeah, after this episode, I understand. Josh is backstage for just a promo. I get it. But it's a travesty if some of you don't have him at least on your top 10. No, I'm going to get a lot in the chats. Alright, let's talk about Impact and how we got to these power rankings. Well, I might not be able to make complete sense of them, but I can at least talk to how we got there and what set the tone for what people voted upon, I guess. Man, I am mumble-jumble this week, guys. I apologize. A little bit. It's been a long day. Long day, long weekend, long week. I'm sure everybody feels the pain, but it's Sunday. We're having fun. Of course, at 9:15, no matter what, will be the Impact Zone with Max and myself with a cool announcement at the end. All right. Let's get into Impact Review Board. I'm excited about to talk about this episode. One, because I wanted to get to the Twitter poll and show that it was our highest number of votes so far since doing these after Impact on Access TV Twitter polls. And yet it is the consistent. It is consistent with our normal rankings for the most part, or poll results. So really interesting. Really interesting. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. And Impact wants to know as well. That's the key thing that we'll talk about in Hot Topics with this survey that's going around. All right. BTI, first off, we had Giselle Shaw defeating Alicia. Alicia here, I thought it was a good match. Once again, I think Alicia's strong suit will be in that tag division. I think this ends her and Giselle, period. There's no questions to that anymore, right? Giselle's trying to do her thing with the influence, or is she? I thought it showed Giselle's ability to put on a good match. I don't know. I just thought it was a good match. When you really have nothing else to say, I think that's pretty damn good way to move on from it, or reason to move on. But not taking away anything from these ladies. I mean, I just thought Impact at this point never is. I don't know. To me, it's each match has a quality, and saying, "Hey, that match is good," is about what I would keep saying if I were just to rate the matches themselves. So I never like talking about the matches per se, but solid match there. BTI, must check it out. And right from there, though, we have our, of course, we go to Impact on Access TV. We have the intro, and we go right into the X Division match. Alan Angels debuting right off his run with AEW in his hometown. And he was over, man. So that was cool. It was my first look at him, self-admittedly. I mentioned that. See, I am impressed with Alan Angels. First time I ever saw him wrestle. Same. Appreciate that. What we love in here, guys. Honest, transparent, unbiased. That's what we're all about. Pro wrestling. If you never saw him wrestle, I'm going to say I never saw him wrestle. And I never saw him wrestle before, but it was a pleasure doing so. I think anytime someone does a frog splash, Max has his 450. He loves anyone who does a 450. Max is your fan. I'm the same with a good frog splash. And this kid had one. I think what's going against him is that the X Division, I mean, granted, is it stacked? No. Are we pulling some people to do other things? Yes. But you got Laredo Kid. You got Black Truce. You got some characters in there. Him coming off the Dark Order. What does he do from here, right? A little character development there. I don't think this is per se a long-term thing. I think this is a one and done, despite the ending here. Hey, Gary, what's going on, buddy? Sorry I'm late. Don't worry. So was I. Same way. Watching Lucha match from GCW. Okay. But yeah, Bailey here defeating Alan Angels. Bailey still selling his legs from the Trey match. Bailey is just, I mean, look, man. What more can be said about this guy and the run he is on right now? I don't think I could add anything different than I'm sure the rest of the community has said about this and beyond, which is really cool. That was my big thing on Mike Bailey was he was out of the States for so long. He comes in here. Is he over in every market? Does every market know him? I think he's busted his ass and on the indies as well as in Impact to put a mark on his name. Sorry about that. There's some kind of boat driving by my house. No, I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was a great match, man, and shows Bailey being champ was the right decision. Puts that belt obviously on a different level right now. Even though Ace was a great champion, it's just Ace is going to do something else, and Bailey his focus is the X Division and putting on bangers, and he's doing so. But he made it to number 1. Rightfully earned, right? All right. So I thought that was great, but Alan Angels, I thought it was a great debut. I don't know if it's a permanent thing, but we'll talk more about it on the Impact Zone as well. But seems like everyone was pleasantly surprised or not surprised at all and was happy about it. Next up, you had Deonna and Doring coming out there, and they were mad. They attacked them, and that's why I was wondering if there was a tag coming out of this or something of that nature, but I'm not sure to be so. Once again, we're spoiler free here, so don't correct me in the chat if I'm getting too far ahead. But yeah, it took both of them out, Doring and Deonna. It's funny. Obviously EY coming back was inevitable. He obviously, spoiler, comes back right after what I'm about to say. But I was kind of digging Deonna being on his own. Well, not being on his own, but, kind of heading the ship there. Speaking for Doring, having, them kind of without a leader. That was kind of cool. And maybe that's still the route. We don't know. But Eric Young comes back, and honestly, not one of my favorite segments. I thought there was a lot of time for, much like my rambling on last week and beyond. It was a lot of saying the same stuff in just different ways, and could have been a little bit shorter, but it's EY. He's back. Looks like he's focused on what? Yes, and Josh? I don't know. We'll see. Now, here's the thing. I know people are going to say, well, it's going to be Eric Young again. We don't know that, man. I don't think so. I think Emergence is a 5-week between show, so you need some stuff before you do create the next challenger. I could be wrong, but I think there's going to be a couple weeks where we're just having some fun here before we kind of start declaring things. We also got to look. We're heading into Bound for Glory. We all hope the Bound for Glory series returns. But you got to keep your options open, right? And if the Bound for Glory series is happening, you kind of need some people to have Josh be focused on until that match at Bound for Glory. So we'll see. I don't think that's the route. I'm not saying it is, but we'll see where this goes. Next up, we have Honor No More backstage, saying they're gonna test PCO tonight. Now the siren goes off when I heard that, and I was like, shit, all right, they're kicking him out. Not that I want PCO in there, but I want to do it at a different time. I think there's other stories that could be told, and then PCO has something set up for him as soon as he, is off, and I think Vincent as well. But yeah, PCO is going to get tested tonight against Black Taurus. More on that in a bit. But still playing up the idea that we are a commodity. PCO is on that fringe. Now, Vincent backing him up as well. We'll see how that plays out. But I love these people together, man. But when they break apart, the depth chart special is going to be a hell of a time. All right. Next up, Gia was backstage. Don't forget, before Emergence, Josh is a big title against Jacob Fatu on July 31st. That's right as well. Yeah, man. There's stuff that plays into that in the indies. Where Josh is kind of... We know where our world championship scene is at. We know where some of the players in that are already taken up doing other things. But I think there's going to be some interesting things that come into play here. So I'm not as nervous as some. Am I ever, though? Right? No. Oh, man. It's just fun, man. This is all fun, guys. And if you're awake and you're alive and you're watching this, thank you. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Episode 99. Next week is episode 100, obviously. And we already had 100 people on Twitch. You know our rule here. We just want one for every episode, so we're already good. I'm not going to banter for that or pander for that, excuse me. My words, man. I get them all mixed up. But, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. The point is having fun, right? Was that what it was? Sure. All right, let's keep moving. Let's keep having fun, guys. Next up was Gia interviewing Deonna and Chelsea. Love that they're a tag team here, man. Love that they're got their little things and their little best friendy gimmicks already worked out. Feels natural, doesn't feel forced. Really kind of stepping into place of the role of the inspiration here. Right? Anyone else kind of feeling that they are now the head honchos. I mean, don't take away from the influence or Ragnarok or any of that. I just mean like that vibe. Like, we are the head, HBICs, right? Yeah, that's Mia's thing. Gail ends up coming in here, making the main event for that night, which was obviously going to be Mia. I missed inspiration. Same. Mia defeating Deonna, which we'll talk about obviously at the end here. It was a number 1 contendership match, and then as it perfectly went across on the Tron there, we're also going to get Mickey versus Chelsea next week on Impact. So Gail making that happen. Love it. Love Gail Kim in this pissing off the heels. Oh, yeah. I love this niche for her, man. It works, and there's so many knockouts for her to interact with that it's just so cool that you look forward to seeing her interact with them, right? You're always looking forward to something different. It's kind of like when someone goes on commentary, and for the first time you get to hear them with well, more or less with Raywall, but with Hannafan as well. It's pretty cool to see those different interactions. Next up, we had Trey, who is on one leg doing this shit, man. Also selling the hell out of his epic match, his instant classic with Bayley from Against All Odds. But he defeats Laredo Kid here, man. And I already mentioned Laredo Kid, when I was comparing with Alan Angels and the depth of the X division. But you got people like Laredo Kid and Black Taurus taking L's for people in this division. I mean, to have them people be what you consider fringe contenders or fringe in the picture, man, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, good match here. My play on this is Trey one-legged is not obviously good as Trey with 2 legs, right? Captain Obvious today. But you're not going to tell Trey to, in kayfabe, the character of Trey Miguel, you're not going to tell him to take a back seat. That's just not in his character, right? He's the fight. He's got the chip on his shoulder. That's his shtick. But what division makes sense for someone who still wants to go but really can't maybe go full speed? Maybe won't jeopardize, or his limitations won't be as shown as much? I think the tag division, man. And I think the time is right for the Rascals to say what you will. But I think now is the time for the Rascals to come back here. And they could swing Trey into that without diminishing his role or I think right now with what Bayley's doing with the X division, Trey being there lingering around to obviously while Bayley takes dubs, and what's Trey going to do, right? So I think now is the time for the picking for him to kind of swing over, still saying the main focus. See him in the power rankings. I think that's a big thing, man. When these people who aren't in title contentions anymore or aren't in a specific feud or specific program for a title and are still making the power rankings, and it's still so difficult to say. It's a good time to be an Impact Wrestling fan. A lot of different stories being told, a lot of people still being taken care of, and stories told with them, man, without putting them on the shelf for 3 weeks or so. And obviously, I know Trey's not really injured. Just kayfabe, bro. And yes, a great showing from Laredo Kid as well, as always, man. Ric Flair moment of the week, brought to you by StarCast. One, obviously great to have some sponsorship here in the world of wrestling, seeing outside the world of just Impact. But it was a little surreal, a little weird, right? But I guess, we're going full steam with this Ric Flair's last match thing. We obviously have some great matchups lined up from Impact talent there. So, makes sense. Make that money. Cool seeing, what do you call it, though? It's cool seeing AJ versus Angle again. I remember that moment like it was yesterday, man. Really, it's weird. Number 8, segment 8, VBD searching. So you had Diener and Doring searching for Josh as if he's the problem here. It's not them that they disobeyed or whatever. They didn't go with EY's designed plan. But they run into Motor City Machine Guns. They were looking for a Josh, and they they found one in Sabin and Shelly. Oh, perfect timing. Sabin versus Shelly. Yeah, that's something we'll talk about in a moment. But yeah, they're there. Josh is there too. It sets up a 3 versus 3 6-man tag for next week. So really exciting. I like that. That was all Josh was in. So I get the rankings. I get why. But I thought it was nicely done. Impact's been doing this, and I'll get to one in just a bit. I'm trying to look. Yep, we'll talk about that in a couple segments, about the transition shots, including multiple storylines in one thing, and setting up next week. Always setting up next week. You never just feel like it's like, oh, here's what's happening. There's always a plan by design. All right. But next up, man, was that A+ Killer Kelly vignette. Look, like I said, we've all been looking forward to Killer Kelly finally being a mainstay in Impact Wrestling. You got everything worked out. Put all that aside, and let's just talk about this talent. There's multiple reasons I think people are excited for her to come in. Where you might know her from, where you might have seen her before. But for me, to be honest, it's strictly been Impact in the little stuff leading up when people would post stuff. Hey, check this out. This is whatever. Matches like that. So for all intents and purposes, everything I've seen from her, I've loved. I think she has a sense of realism. She's got a great look. I thought this vignette already takes care of the character part, because what are you going to, do you want her to come in as just the fighter kind of style? I thought this was dope, man. I thought this was really set the tone for, could be loner, I don't know. You never know. You never know who she finds on her travels, but I thought it set her up as a character very nice. In a very stacked division. Now, what she has working to her benefit is there's a lot of people from that singles knockouts division that are swaying over to that tag, right? You moved Taya and you moved Rosemary over. Looks like they're obviously moving Chelsea and Deonna. So there is, obviously Mia has the match at Emergence. But there's time for people of that, and it's so weird calling this the undercard of the knockouts division. But people like Masha and people like Killer Kelly who can come in and just rise up the ladder while everyone else is focusing on something else. So then when the well runs dry, you have a Killer Kelly Deonna match when Deonna comes back to that division. You have a Masha versus Chelsea or whatever, whatever it may be. So a lot to look forward to with her signing, not just for the depth, but for the 5 tools she checks off, man. We talked about a little into Impact Zone. We want to go more in depth in how we started to do originally when we graded the top 25, where it's, ring work, mic work, character development, name, all that stuff, right? Card status. But she checks off a lot of damn boxes. So this is another big get for Impact. And it might not be something that, worldwide name value. But as far as rep and skill set, we got another one here, man. For me, these are the people. Impact had a choice to make, and we'll talk about that in a little bit with the survey. But what are you going to be? Are you going to be on the precipice of always trying to be compared to AEW or WWE or anywhere else in big budget, or do you embrace what you are and make strategic signings that can grow with you, that can build this company, that could be foundation pieces to lift you up, right? She has a following outside of here. And they grow with you, right? Compared to always just looking for that white knight that's going to come in and save the day, that big signing. These are the people you want to bring in. And I guess they knew that 2 years ago. But, I digress. But kudos to the production team. That was dope. Number 10, Gia with AMW. This was cool, man. A little send-off here for now, at least, with the Wildcat. See you guys talking about what tag teams in there. Taylor Wilde, maybe. Okay. I see Taylor coming back. I could see where to Lish, man. I know it sounds... there's no real, continuity or anything or reason there, but I think Lish and Taylor Wilde look cool together, would have a great presence together. I think that's something. But yeah, AMW kind of closing the book there, at least for now, at least the next chapter. Love these things. I know they're simple. I call them little big things, but to go from that shot with Gia and to end it with, the cowboy does cowboy things, or whatever the word was there. And then he kind of transitions. He goes, he's on the long walk. He's looking for someone. Isle pointed it out, man. Wildlish. That's right. Wildlish. Yep. That'd be cool, right? But I would point out the long-term storytelling here of James Storm looking for Moose. That's good shit, man. And who does he run into in Moose's locker room? He runs into Macklin. Interesting, right? So maybe there's something more brewing here with Macklin and Moose than just, hey, I helped you. I guess you helped me. But what this sets up is Macklin versus James Storm this Thursday. Come on, man. You know, look, I know people aren't always big on the part-timers coming in here for a run or two and then, coming back and whatever. And I think James Storm obviously gets a pass because he's James fucking Storm. He is Impact Wrestling, right? But just to come in and have these matches with people like Macklin, that helps elevate them, win or lose, man. Just to be in the same breath or in the same promo art right there, it's big shit. It's big shit for the people we're trying to build. As like Gary's saying, I'd rather have people like Killer Kelly over bigger names who just want a paycheck. And yeah, I mean, I think we all want a paycheck at the end of the day, but at the same time, there's people who want to make a name for themselves as well. That could be repairing names, like a Morrissey like we had, or someone like this who wants to come in and just tear shit up, show people what she's got, and she will. All right. Cowboy James Sam, the new OVW National Heavyweight Champion. Gotta love that, man. Gotta love James Storm. And shout out to OVW getting where are they going? Are they going to Netflix? Is that who's going there? Pretty cool. Distribution. All right. But yeah, he goes in. We have a match set up. Number 11 is Bullet Club. All four of them are there. This is what I was alluding to. Marked out for it, man. All four of them together in unison. I don't know if there's going to be a thing here as Metal Easy 25 had mentioned about, them working their way in the tag team picture, because that would mean one of them has to leave Bullet Club, I imagine. But as we'll talk about later with Kushida, I think there's going to be multiple tag teams that come to play here. So I don't know who the Good Brothers are going next. Obviously, next week they mentioned that was the point of the segment, that it's Honor No More. I would love if the Kingdom won the tag team titles. I don't know where we're going next with this feud. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens here. Is there dissension in the Bullet Club? I think we'll be able to tell after this week. But I gotta wait to talk about the PCO thing, don't I? Do I even have that on there? Did I fuck up? It's quite possible. So after that, we have... Yeah, I think I did, so I'll mention that. PCO ended up defeating Black Taurus, right? He got that test. We'll talk about it there, because I'll use that as a transition for Honor No More. I apologize, guys, once again. Long day. But he had the match. He proved himself. What I really liked about this, I'm talking about PCO versus Black Taurus. Obviously, you had Crazy Steve on one side. You had the representation there. But I liked the fact that Honor No More came out after the win, and we're happy for PCO. They asked him to prove himself, and he did. Now, is that long term? Is that what's going to happen long term? Is this just a week to get us by? Either way, there was no... I don't know, man. I like when people are a person of their word. I'm not looking for the swerve. The swerve, if you want to call it that, came when obviously Heath, Christian Bale Batman, came in there and to hit his move on Kenny King. That move scares the shit out of me, by the way. I never want to take that move. But I seem to have forgot it there, so I want to make sure I mention that. But Bullet Club, Honor No More, the feud continues this coming Thursday. Next up, obviously, we mentioned this as well with the DMC title, the new champion. Brian Myers walking backstage. He runs into Swinger and Dice, who want a shot at the title. And then Gujar as well. I think this is where the red flag came for me, that this is going to be below. And nothing against them, but we all call a spade here. Of where Gujar and Swinger vying for number one contendership puts that title. All right. Oh, OGK, the new Pro Wrestling Revolver Tag Team Champions, right? Meaning Macklin and Blake. See, there's a lot of fringe thing there, man. Kudos to Sammy for kicking ass there, by the way. But there's a lot of cool fantasy booking things that happen there, tag teams that could be together, that should be together. And that's an interesting play as well. Macklin and Blake, right? We've been clamoring for that as well. We talked about that. Clamoring, that's my word. Salivating for it. Interesting that they're still performing there. I'm once again not in the loop as much as I should be. Time. Obviously, I was 15 minutes late today. So time is not always on my side, guys. Let's keep going here. We might run a little bit late, but we're going to try to end it perfectly on time for 9:15 for the Impact Zone premiere. So next up, we had Swan defeating Shira here. I liked this. This was set up at Against All Odds. You could say a little bit odd to take Swan right out of the DMC picture and then start getting him big feuds over someone who's a little bit bigger. I think there's a bigger thing to play here, and I said that a little bit earlier, alluded to that. I think Swan maybe versus Josh is a match we get leading up to Bound for Glory. One of those bangers that we know what's going to happen, but it's just fun to watch. Next up, Influence arguing internally. Is it Giselle's fault that Masha is after Tenille? What's going on there? Tenille doesn't officially trust Giselle yet. Does Giselle really even want to be in the group? Interesting stuff here. I like it, man. Because not only were they shown on BTI, they're shown here as well. It's continuity. It's showing the importance of a tag team that isn't in the title picture right now in that division. I think that's cool, man. Depth. Next up, we are shown that Rosemary, bad luck charm Giselle. Rosemary is talking with Taya about how she has to go to the Undead Realm to find. She's got to do it herself. She's got to go. No relying on anyone else. She's got to go find Havoc. Iceman told us the Havoc's in the Undead Realm on BTI, so this makes sense. But Taya says she has to go with. So this is going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to this because anything can happen, especially since it's pre-taped, right? They're not, everything's live again, right? Nothing's live. But when it's pre-taped, these are backstage segments that spoilers don't really leak out for, is my point there. Last up was the main event of the evening, number one contendership for the Knockouts World Championship. Mia defeated Deonna in a classic, man. It was a good time. Great representation for the Knockouts division there. Even though Deonna's taken a foot out of the Knockouts division and moving to the tag one, it didn't feel like at any point that was what's going to happen. There was an opportunity for both to be number one contendership here, or number one contender here, and we get the match with Mia defeating Deonna, meaning we get the match of Mia versus Jordan at Emergence. So I like the 5-week build it gives them, right? Because both faces, you got to build some drama there. You got to build some story. We'll see how they do the 5 weeks, how they keep it interesting, how they keep it relevant. Yeah, Iceman's been down in Florida for quite a while. Yeah, man, it must be a great story that he's doing. I think it's a tan that he's working on. But that was your Impact on Access TV review. A little jumbled, apologize, but what did you guys think? Well, I could tell you, this is from the people that voted on Twitter. 76% said A, 16 with B, and then you got your C's and D's with 4% each. Chop it up how you will, man. 76% strong, no matter how many votes we get. This was our biggest lot of votes, so keep that up. Thank you, guys. But, 76% approved. Loved it. That's good to know. I thought, it really does help when you have some names dropped, some little interesting debuts and different stuff like that. So it makes sense that pushed it over for a lot of people, or enough to not keep them on C and D, right? It was B and A primarily because B getting 16%. So pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool, man. Impact's doing a good job. I really think, and regardless if I think we're going to be in a lull wrestling-wise, I think Impact shines the most in those cases, because Impact's creative, to me, is second to none. Their ability to use everybody, to integrate new people into storylines is just brilliant. It's brilliant stuff. But speaking of that, Iceman's story probably is Killer Kelly coming to Impact. He's been working on it for 2 years, guys. It's good, Gary. Good shit. So we talked about Impact on Access TV. We talked about within that Killer Kelly being the news. We didn't talk about the Briscoes too much. We're going to go in, for time purposes as well. We'll go on to Impact Zone and talk about that extensively. They're obviously announced, and you saw they actually went into it on Brace for Impact. Our buddy there, Mike G, man, talked about it. Will the Briscoes go? Is this a sign because they're going to ROH and so on? He had an update, so I'll leave it with that, which was they are advertised for the next set of tapings. So it looks more like this is going to be freelance. I hope the freelance eventually ends and they are just Impact guys. But I understand how the business works. So I understand if that's not what they're aiming for. At the same time, I really hope it is. Really hope it is. So putting the Briscoes and Killer Kelly aside, the first thing that was was literally announced, I believe, on Impact Wrestling on Twitter, after Impact on Access TV, was Kushida is making his debut for Impact Wrestling. How badass is that, man? It's cool to have Kushida in Impact. I think he could do a lot of things. I think it's going to be like, as we mentioned with the James Storm thing, they come in for a couple programs. We'll see. But there's a lot of different things he can do, but I think primarily, especially with the same set of tapings, the Derby City Rumble is where we're going to get, if I'm not mistaken, Alex Shelley versus Chris Sabin. Doesn't need to be a blood feud, could be a gentlemanly matchup. But I think the time is right for the picking for the time splitters to do something in Impact Wrestling. I also think it's time for the Rascals to do something in Impact Wrestling. I think the tag division is going to be a focus on both sides, knockouts and men's. Scott seems to deal with handshakes as much as he does with contracts. But yeah, so really cool that Kushida's coming in. I think we'll see the time splitters, as I said. Lets Chris Sabin kind of work into other things. Maybe, once again, there's that instant in with Josh. He's the one who said he should cash in the title. He's done enough in the X division. Go for the world. So maybe we get that pat on the back. Here's your match for giving me the confidence kind of thing. We'll see. But either way, I like the possibility here. It doesn't need to be a blood feud match with them. But really cool to maybe see Kushida versus Sabin. Maybe Kushida versus Shelley. We don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know how many tapings he's here for. If it's to Bound for Glory, that's dope. But I'll be happy to see him on TV regardless. Next thing I want to talk about, guys, is what I keep mentioning, the Impact Survey. You guys brought it to our attention. Did you get one? Did I get one? I asked a few people as well just to see if they went to everyone. And there's a lot of different opinions out there of first of all, I'll say what it was, and then we could go on to my opinion of it. It was basically a survey. Time splitters versus the beer guns. Hey, there we go. Maybe Macklin and Blake. I think there's a lot of routes you could go. But obviously he's got something going on with Sammy. But maybe Sammy has a tag team partner, as he does in Pro Wrestling Revolver. We can only hope, right? But it was a survey that was sent out. We actually found it in our spam folder. So it was through promotions folder. So make sure, I think it's timed out now. But it was you give us a survey, you complete it, give us your feedback and all this, $25 to ImpactWrestling.com, shop Impact Wrestling. So I didn't get a time to do it, to be honest with you. But I got a chance to see it. And I thought I asked a lot of good questions. I asked a lot of basic questions, but those sometimes are the questions you need to ask. What do you like about WWE? What do you dislike about WWE? AEW, Impact, Beyond? Do you like this kind of wrestling? Do you like that kind of wrestling? Do you label yourself a misfit? Do you like this artwork? And this is where it came to click in here. Max and I have preached this quite a bit. Both, I think, me more so in the time that it was big in ECW. It was a huge mark for ECW. Max, obviously a fan as well, but just to kind of give you when we say this, what we mean. We don't mean WWE, ECW. And this isn't saying this is where Impact is. Of course, I want them to have good lighting. I want them to have good production. I want them to have great storylines and great branding, which I believe they do. But when it comes to ECW, analogy kind of makes sense. We are the misfits of the wrestling world. Do I think, that's who's in Impact are the misfits of the wrestling? Well, not really. I think there's some, right, that just fit better. A lot of them fit better in Impact. But I think as a fan goes, we are the underdog. We are the ones that like a brand that it isn't necessarily cool to like. Right? That's why I say that the only way we can grow is within each other, right? And welcoming new fans in no matter what. Unfortunately, sometimes after they troll you, but you got to let them in, right? You got to unite. But I think, all that aside, the ECW analogy of being the third biggest, if that's what you want to call it, this isn't a size contest for me. It's more of the representation of it. We are the smaller group, right? And we always say, eventually you got to ask yourself, are you going to keep trying to swing for the big signing and the white knight and try to be on the level of everyone else? Or are you going to embrace that you are the most creative? I believe that. Pro wrestling, but I believe that. You are the best at, making, well, I don't want to say chicken salad out of chicken shit, but Impact does so much with so little. And then when I say so little, that doesn't mean talent. That doesn't mean production. It doesn't mean that. It's just we know how it is. We've talked about Impact's finances, or where, how they operate like a business. We're not just blowing money for the sake of blowing money. Would that be a lot easier? Yes, it'd be a lot easier. But they're making a viable business that is, once again, self-sufficient. So the options of how you grow this without throwing tons and tons of money and just trying to win people over and hope that these thousands and thousands of dollars on billboards and all this other shit bring people to in-house. You embrace the vibe that's already there. You are the underdog. You are the ECW. You are the island of misfit toys. And I think that's what they were asking. That was the bright light for me. The most glaring thing when I looked up and down on that survey was, what can we do better? Sure. What do you like? Of course. But do you think you are this as well? You're an Impact fan. You're getting this sent to you. We want your opinion. Do you consider yourself a wrestling misfit? Do you like staying behind the curtain? What are you? Would you be okay being categorized as that? Look, I 8 Mile that shit. I don't give a damn what someone likes or dislikes or thinks about the stature of my professional wrestling television show. I like it because I like it. Okay? And I hope you guys could say the same. I'm interested to see what was said. But I think between the pictures they were showing in it, the artwork, do you like movie style postering? Do you like this stuff, which is a lot of, I think, like The Thing and Gorillas and all these different like cool fringe looks. Fringe, I don't know if that's a fucking word, but Just a very, very Pro Wrestling Revolver look. I dig that. Doesn't mean we go small. We accept we're small. We're always going to try to grow. But as Max likes to say, we're ECW with the proper. I think Lucha said that to me as well this week, so I have to give him credit as well. We're ECW with the structure behind it. The days of bouncing checks are over for Impact Wrestling. And that's a great place to be. But yeah, man, I hope I want to hear your guys' opinions on how you took the survey. Did you think it was a good idea? I thought it was a great idea. Prepares the fan base for what could be. Also sees what you guys like or what you think they need to add or do. You know, I think they're hitting all the small singles. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. For where we were to where we are now, a bunch of singles really added up. But I think we're about to hit a double. And I, you know, we're having pay-per-view after pay-per-view that's solid or beyond, more than often beyond. So the rep is there. Now comes the branding, and obviously everyone knows we were TNA Wrestling. Now we're Impact Wrestling. That's kind of that order of that. We're cool. We're Impact Wrestling now, right? But what is Impact Wrestling? Do you look at the Impact Wrestling logo and say, oh yeah, you need something that always ties it in, right? That marketing that says, oh, when I see that look, I know that's Impact. And I think that's what they're going for. And you guys should be happy about that and excited about that. And despite some people's perception of a wrestling company putting out a survey, I saw a couple of those. I thought that was pretty lame. I did not get one unless it was in my spam. Then I got thrown away. It's possible. I know a lot of people did, and a lot of people did see that later in their thing as well. But I hope they got enough results from it. I hope they got some good feedback, and I really hope they go the route that it looked like those surveys were kind of seeing if you guys liked or not. Well, with that being said, guys, this has been an interesting one. Thank you for rocking with me. We love you guys. Keep up the unity. Keep up spreading the word for Impact Wrestling. Positive vibes, right? Grow the Impact Wrestling fam. Join us next week for episode 100 of our show. And I said our show, but I meant to say go watch the Impact Zone for the announcement. Fuck it. Max will be back next week for episode 100. Max and I will be doing the show together. We were testing out the the connection today earlier, if you call it that. But yeah, man, it's an exciting time. I'm excited. We got a lot in store, a lot to talk about. But catch the Impact Zone at 9:15 with us. Thank you guys. I appreciate it more than you will ever know, than words will can say right now, especially with how I am. I am gassed. But this week, you can catch me live tweeting. There's another great show. You can see it popping on the Tron right now. Honor No More versus the Bullet Club. James Storm versus Steve Macklin. And Mickey James versus Chelsea Green. So another banger coming out of Impact. A lot of stuff to look forward to. Gary, Datila, Millard, Io, whoever else I'm missing in there. Critical Sting. Yeah, Critical Sting's in there. Hey. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Go enjoy the rest of your weekend. Go enjoy the Impact Zone right after this. Catch all our other shows. Tuesday will be next up with GoGoPowerRankings with Datila and Bert. See what they have to say about this very interesting Power Rankings. All right, guys. Thank you for coming out. Enjoy it. Once again, a pleasure. I'll see you next time.